Welcome to Universal Man. My name is Mark Weppett, and I'm here to help you unleash your apex potential. And if you've been following me for any length of time, or you just happen to be one of the educated masculine elite, then you know that quitting porn and rebooting your brain is one of the best ways to release your apex potential. And so in that vein, today I'm going to be addressing some of the most popular questions I get around the process of quitting porn. And these are, how can you prevent wet dreams? Is a wet dream a relapse? Does a wet dream set your reboot back? And also, it's not exactly about wet dreams, but it's kind of similar, which is the question of how do I stop myself from masturbating in the middle of the night while I am unconscious? So if you're interested in finding out the answer to any of these questions, well then this is the video for you. All right, my friends. So the reality is wet dreams suck. They are just unpleasant and weird, and figuring out how to deal with them when you're in the process of rebooting can seem like a bit of a sticky situation. Sorry, that was terrible. I won't do that again. On to the questions. How to prevent wet dreams. Okay, there is only one way to prevent wet dreams, and that is relapse. You got to relapse because there's no way to really control whether you get a wet dream or not. The reason that they happen during reboot is because your body is used to producing a certain amount of semen and used to experiencing a certain frequency of orgasm. And so when you go through reboot, you cut all that stuff out, at least you should be if you're doing hard mode, as you should be, then your body's gonna be like, hey, we got all this extra stuff. We got to get rid of it. You're not getting rid of it. So we're going to do it when you sleep. And so that's what it does. It just kind of gets rid of all that extra stuff. And what you have to do essentially is kind of just get through this adaptation period where your body gets used to not beating off 5 times a day. It's going to happen. You might have a few wet dreams in the interim though. So part of the thing is you kind of just might have to accept these. Some guys get more than others. I only had a few. I only had I think 2 or 3 or something like that during in my life, really. I haven't had that many. Some guys, they get them more frequently. There's not much that you can do to prevent them because it's an unconscious thing. And this brings us to the next question, which is a wet dream a relapse? No, it's not. When you're tracking your progress through reboot, what you're really measuring is your decision making, right? If you choose to watch porn, if you choose to jerk off, you're going to reset your streak. Yes, that would be a relapse, meaning you would be relapsing into the old behavior you're trying to quit. But a wet dream is not a relapse. You're not returning to an old behavior. It's something that you're not even choosing. It's just happening. Often the best thing that you can do is just give less energy to this issue. Just be like, shit, whatever, it's over, and then just move on with your day. The next question people have then is, does a wet dream set your reboot back? It might not be a relapse, but does it hurt your healing process? No, I don't believe it does, because again, really the healing process that we're most interested in is your capacity to make good decisions, because all the other healing is going to come from that. All the other neurochemical rewiring and repairing and stuff like that is going to be taken care of just fine if you can make good decisions. And so, since this isn't a decision, in my opinion, it doesn't really set you back. But it does do something to you neurochemically because it is an orgasm experience. And I think, and it's often, accompanied with a sexual dream or something like that. And so the thing that you want to watch out for is that this can sensitize your brain. This can maybe bring on a chaser effect. In the rebooting community, the idea of a chaser effect is that if you have sex or you jerk off or something like that, then you're going to have a craving. You're going to have more cravings immediately after that period. And this is something that I have seen from guys who have had wet dreams. They have maybe more cravings later that day or the following day because their brain has maybe been woken up to it. Maybe they haven't had no sexual stimulation for a couple of weeks, then all of a sudden they have a wet dream. Well, it's their brain gets a little taste of it and it might want some more. It might send a little extra craving your way. And so what you can do to really prevent that from becoming an issue is just putting in a little bit of extra work into your recovery process. All right. This could be any number of things. Like maybe you connect with your accountability partner and be like, hey man, yeah, I had a wet dream. And I'm just checking with you to make sure that it doesn't become anything, because my brain's a little bit more sensitized right now. Maybe if you have my course or you just like my videos, you just watch one of these to get your brain back into the game, like really like recommit yourself to what you're doing in case any, craving comes your way. Probably one of the more powerful things that you can do is do what I call a preemptive metascript journal entry. And if you don't have my metascript method, it's probably one of my most popular things I've ever created, and it's changed guys' lives. It's a journaling system for reprogramming your subconscious mind. And one of the things is, it's called a preemptive entry, and you can write one of those and it'll do a lot to keep you moving along solidly. If you want to learn how to do that, you can just click the link below and get the free guide there. This kind of leads into like this final question, which is related but a little bit different, which is how to stop masturbating in the middle of the night. Some guys, they're like, oh, I keep relapsing in the middle of the night when I'm unconscious. And this is like very similar to a wet dream, but it just has maybe a little bit of manual stimulation. And there is a way to stop these, sort of. Like, if you're completely unconscious, there's nothing you can do. But even in that case, maybe there is. So let me explain. Like, when you're unconscious, the most powerful thing that you have is visualization, like pre-programming. So if you're struggling where you're, doing something before you're even fully conscious of what you're doing, then if you take the time to visualize what you want to be doing instead, and you're preloading your brain with the instructions, then you will have those instructions available, or at least you have a higher chance of having those instructions acted on in that moment of lower consciousness. So for example, like the preemptive metascript entry, that's one thing you can do before bed. So it's like you write down like, if I get horny in the middle of the night, I will not touch myself. Instead, I will, put my hands flat on my bed and I will breathe deeply. And if I need to, I'll get up and, take a piss and get a drink of water or something like that. Okay. Sometimes just taking a piss can do a lot. If you're, uncomfortably aroused, taking a piss usually, calms that down. And, you could also combine this with a visualization where you like imagine the scenario, you imagine yourself getting turned on like in the middle of the night, but then whoosh, hands go flat to the bed and you follow whatever your plan is, and by visualizing this ahead of time, I've seen a lot of results in the guys that are in my community around this kind of thing. So that's pretty much it with this. Like, don't give wet dreams too much power or attention. You really want to be putting your efforts into the other parts of the recovery process of, working on your self-talk, building up your accountability system, getting your self-knowledge and stuff down. And, my channel's got a ton of stuff around this. So check out my sexual self-mastery series. Check out my reboot regimen, which is my free guide on quitting porn, how to like really start getting your basics in line. You can get that also in the free guides and link below. So thank you, my friends. Hopefully you found this useful. If you did, please like, please subscribe, leave a comment for the algorithm, all that good stuff. Thank you. You have a good one. Ooh, yeah.